OSC Championship number 9, the upper bracket where a lot of the top players remain. It is going to be in the bottom left-hand corner of the map in this best of 5 series. Our Storm Gaming Red Protoss player, MaxPax. In the upper right-hand corner, our Blue Terran player is ByuN. Map 1 of this best of 5 as we get this underway. Some interesting stats about ByuN in the OSC system this year. As first of all, I guess I'll just very quickly say, if you're going to watch this on YouTube, maybe this is a series that gets over there. First of all, thank you so much for tuning in on the YouTube channel. I really appreciate it. And if you are enjoying on the YouTube, then do consider hitting the like button and maybe subscribing. I just thought I'd mention that quickly. But yeah, some interesting stats on ByuN this year in the OSC system. He only played 36 tournaments, but he won 19 of them. 19! He hasn't played in an OSC Championship since 2017. And he won 2016 the last time he played. So, big boy ByuN coming back, looking to be one of the, the second ever repeat champion. MaxPax this season played 42 tournaments, won 22. So we're talking about two players that have a 50% win rate in tournaments they play in the OSC system. That's kind of crazy. He placed 11th last year in the OSC World Championship, and he finished up 10th place this year in the OSC system as well. So some stats for you guys there from the OSC player profiles available at sc2online.com. If you would like to find out more about anyone in this event, like I say, every player has a player profile on the sc2online.com site, which is the OSC official website. You can track all the information, tournaments, results, and everything else that builds into the OSC system throughout the year, leading us to this championship that's played every January. This is the 9th edition of that. As our Reaper comes out across the right-hand side, and a little bit of scouting going on here as we get this ready to go. Map number 1 of this TVP. Yeah, kind of just waiting to see what exactly the plan here will develop into. We have a second Reaper coming back over to this side, so that second Reaper going to hang out in this natural expansion. So we're going to get a couple of Reapers just hanging out here together. So obviously you proxied that Rax just off to the left side. Wasn't really a proxy, more than a fake proxy. We're actually going to build a third Reaper, which means we're going to have a lot of early game units here from ByuN. He's going to be looking to put a lot of early game pressure on. This Adept is going to be chased by the Reaper Hellion. I think this is one of those scenarios where it's going to die no matter what, so you may as well shade it here, and it gets past those units, and that can maybe pull them back, while you can get an SCV kill. So it might seem a little bit weird to let that finish up, but I think given the situation, it actually does make pretty good sense. Better sense than you would be initially expecting, at least. You do clean it up eventually with reinforcing units, but MaxPax gets good info, because now he knows there's a good amount of Reaper Hellion on the map. He knows it's pretty heavily committed here initially from his opponents. As he gets an Oracle up, I would not be surprised at all to see MaxPax keeping that Oracle back at home rather than bringing this across the map. So that's going to be a factor here. As a couple of Hellions and the couple of Reapers come through, and just going to be having the Adepts behind this wall off, which is going to be completed, and now the Oracle gets here, and obviously as long as you're keeping these units out of your mineral line, you're in a pretty good place, and that definitely seems to be the case. As you do see the Oracle continue to chase Reaper Hellion down and away, and just getting this good cleanup. So really good defense in the early game there as we go through this. And now these Hellions still wandering. Now the good news is obviously the Oracle at least used all of its energy over on this side of the map, so the Oracle wasn't being overly aggressive or anything. Oracle can't use its abilities on the mineral line, for example, right? So, you're not taking damage at least. That is a positive here initially. Twilight Council is setting up in the natural expansion of MaxPax as he readies himself for the next stage. I'll be kind of honest. I'll be kind of honest, the double Oracle, it's not something I see out of MaxPax a lot. I'm so used to seeing MaxPax play some sort of Twilight opener, DTs, or like a lot of 4-gate Blink openings. Seeing him play a couple Oracles is a little bit off from what I would usually expect him to be doing, so yeah. Kind of funky as one Oracle gets blown up by a Widow Mine. It's not going to be pretty. So that Wooden Mine gets a decent connection right away. And these two adepts will make their way up to the top right side of the map. What's up past them? I'm not inviting you to cast? Wow, I mean, I don't know. Last time I invited you to cast, I thought you were going to show up and then you just didn't log in. You were just offline. Didn't even stream, not even ignoring me, ignoring your entire stream. It was unbelievable. But yeah. I don't just blindly invite you to cast or expect you to be here anymore. You broke my... I'm not going to say you broke my heart. You broke my trust. You broke my belief in you. You can join in after the first game if you want, mate. Stalkers are wandering up to the top side. A couple of adepts will join up together and just going to be having Combat Shield and Stim coming in from ByuN. So seeing a little bit of what these guys will get up into right now. The Stalkers here just chipping at the bunker initially. And just seeing our +1 blink. All of that coming through. Extra gates coming in as well. As MaxPax will now try to exert some blink pressure on the front line here. So trying to just get that set up. You have the Stalkers coming through, looking for a little grab on that Cyclone, if at all possible. Cyclone does survive, good micro backwards, and the Stalkers are just going to ping back as well. Reinforcements still coming. I mean, the Stalkers are safe to be here, right? You've got bio upgrades on the way. They'll be done in a while, but they're not ready yet, so the Stalkers really do have the freedom to do as they wish at the moment. They're just chilling out here. We're actually going to get a gateway up over here as well, so we're going to get quite aggressive out of MaxPax. Keep up those warp-ins. The Raven at the front there needs to be careful. Don't want to take too many Stalker shots on that boy. Otherwise, you might end up in a little bit of trouble. Marines load up. Medevac goes out through the top side and just going to be boosted on forward. Stimpack finishing up in a few moments. Concussive shells on the way in. We do drop a little Revelation down, hitting the bio unit. Cyclone able to chase the Oracle out of here. These Marines are going to turn. They're going to pick their way through that pylon. The Medevac gets shot down. These couple of Stalkers are being picked off. And, well, I mean, nice to get the Medevac, but it is actually costing you a fair few Stalkers. This definitely doesn't come for free. There's a couple of Zealots in the back here getting warped in. They're going to get cleaned out too. So ByuN actually taking a pretty good fight to clean up here initially. And he is going to take a supply lead in a pretty major way. Big army supply advantage, especially. About 30 army supply difference in his favor. So ByuN definitely feeling that part of this as we just see the Zealots moving over the right side. Oracle just dropping a Revelation down, a little bit of Marine Marauder just being seen as we continue downwards. Just kind of locking onto a few of these Stalkers here, so Stalkers taking some hits. As we are going to be seeing the rest of the Bioforce coming through. Anti-arm missile going to hit the Zealots, and the Zealots going to get stuck a little bit there initially, as this is a good fight for ByuN, I believe. 9 SCVs going down across the map, though, so the Zealot counterattack is doing some serious damage. If MaxPax can just survive, then the damage he's doing across the map is going to be really problematic for ByuN, so this maybe will backfire on ByuN still. Maybe this doesn't quite go the way we're expecting it to for him, as Zealots will charge forward into Widow Mines. I mean, it's not pretty. This army is melting for MaxPax, although ByuN's Medevac's out of energy. He's stimmed one more time here. He should be able to win this fight on this third base. My only problem is, what if more Zealots come into play, right? Because if you have even more Zealots and this Bio Army's low HP, the Zealots charge forward, you've got a kite forever, you just can't keep on stimming, and that is probably going to be what stops ByuN from attacking. He does kill 10 probes, so he gets return damage, so it's not just him being the one who's taking damage, as now he backs up a step. We're going to calm it down a little bit, and this game will take a moment to both players will take a moment to relax in a situation which was obviously getting quite feisty. The Zealots were cleaned up back at home for ByuN, and MaxPax, the question becomes, can he actually still do this? You know, is he still able to deal with this army of ByuN? Does he have enough up to fight that at all? I'm not convinced that he necessarily does, but I suppose we'll find out real soon. And as ByuN is obviously not letting up the pressure, he's coming forward once again here, readying for more action. So already stimming through and looking to be aggressive. In we go, and getting ourselves toward the Twilight Council at the front there. He's actually just going to move in the natural and use the Widow Mines to try and zone the opposing units out. So by using those Widow Mines in that way, ByuN is able to get a good amount of kills. We do have DTs running down this ramp here, and we do have another counterattack in ByuN's base as well. Let's just watch those. DTs are still active here. He scans for the DTs over here, and he gets both of them, but does he have a scan now aggressively On the other side of the map, he does not. So no scan to clean up these DTs. Medivacs are forced to lift and get out of there, but 19 probes killed. I mean, ByuN is still killing more probes than SCVs he's losing. He's still keeping a very strong eco lead in this game. So still just staying with that, keeping that advantage. These Medivacs will unload and just aim to go elsewhere now. Medivac's going to boost back. He's going to be seeing this army sitting out over here. Grabs an Oracle already. He's just going to be able to nab that and take that down. Army moving into the center, and a few DTs move around to the right side as well. So they're just going to be on the big counter attack as ByuN's main army comes through the center of the map still. So just pushing through the center. I mean, this is the problem. If you have a scan, these DTs really probably won't stand up for themselves and do what they need to do. There's plenty of scans now available, of course. There's turrets in the mineral lines. And he's already pre-scanning as well, and I love that, because now you can just know where this army's going to be. These DTs are probably going to have to blink away from a Widow Mine, which means they can't blink on top of the Terran army. If you can't blink on top of the Terran army, then you're probably not going to have a good time. Super Battery activates. I mean, obviously, ByuN just kites away from there. If he kites away from the Super Battery, he could just go into the natural expansion and force the fight elsewhere. I don't think he needs to keep on pressing the army like he's doing. Moves into the Medivacs, he's going to lift up. Maybe he is afraid of, like I say, DT's blinking on top of him, but I do think he's safe enough to actually escape out of here. As the bio units unload just into the center, a Zealot going down. DT's pushing through, they're going to blink in on top of this, and just going to be seeing that DT's continuing to take a lot of damage there. Can they do enough? Nope. They just can't deal enough damage at all, and ByuN looking like he has plentiful number of units to keep on moving across the map and to keep on pushing, and to maybe clean up here and put him onto a 1-0 lead in this best of 5 series. So ByuN still coming through, a couple of Zells going down, GG is called, and ByuN is going to win the first map of this best of 5. Convincing aggression from him throughout. It really felt like MaxPax. The double Oracle didn't do great, didn't do terrible, but losing those few Stalkers in the center when he was when he killed that Medivac just felt like it set up the rest of the game into this kind of spiral, which just spiraled further and further into ByuN's control. It never felt like MaxPax had a competitive army against what ByuN was playing. And that is going to lead us to this 1-0 lead for ByuN here. Again, first match of the day from replays, just to reiterate everything else.
Very nice. All right, Wardy.
All right.
Let's do some freaking introductions. In the bottom right, spawning as the red Protoss player, playing for Team Psystorm Gaming. It's our boy MaxPax.
Yeah. And in the top left, our blue Terran player from the Shopify Rebellion, it is ByuN.
Very nice. What do you think of that first game? It felt like MaxPax stayed alive for a very long time, but it really did feel like an extended death animation, you know?
Yeah, I felt like he just lost the first fight. Like, he lost a few Stalkers to these Marines in the middle on his building.
And the 2 Zealot warp in as well.
Yeah. And he warped in. Yeah, exactly. He lost the 2 Zealots, like, warping in to try and fight or so, and then he just never had units at home, and obviously his attacks across the map kept ByuN's reinforcements off, so he couldn't just straight up rally across the map and kill him, but yeah, it was pretty much... I think you're right, it was a death animation. He was kind of just dead from that point. He never really had an army to compete. That's what I was saying when we came out of the game.
Yeah. You made some salient points in that game, you know that? I was watching, and every time you spoke, I was like, man, this is exactly what I wanted to say. At one point you said, these Zealots do a lot of damage. If only MaxPax could survive right now. And that's exactly what I was thinking at the time, Wardy. Like, it's really crazy. Yeah, it's absolutely wild.
It's almost like I'm starting to learn this game, isn't it?
No, I don't know. You're just copying me. It feels like. I said, just go. You know the guys that just repeat the talking points rather than actually knowing what the talking points are based upon. This is what I'm afraid of, Wardy. But the one thing that I was a bit disappointed by that you didn't say, or maybe I had you muted at certain points while I was quacking myself, is you didn't say at the start, this is almost a TvT opener. This is a line that was so ready to be thrown out when he opened with triple Reaper, double Hellion. Like, I was just waiting for it, you know?
No, I didn't say it, actually. You're right. I didn't actually think of it as a TvT opener, but yes, it really was, wasn't it? I was more just thinking of it like, what the hell is this opener, to be honest? Like,
yeah.
It was very off matchup, you're right. It was very TvT.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's just waiting for it. But yeah, honestly, spot on with everything else. Fantastic stuff. All right, we once again have this double gas start. A lot of Terrans have been liking this, and ByuN likes to mix it in because he plays super unsafe majority of the time, right? And then he just mixes in these like these semi counters to build orders that could kill his standard style. So he plays a lot of double gas. He also tends to play a bit of reactor first into 3 racks, especially on the smaller maps. So playing on Berlingrad, I'm even somewhat surprised that we're seeing this double gas style, but he just mixes it up so much, or tends to mix it up a lot in these best of 3s. Recently he's been playing some Reaper first without Scout as well again. So he's been all over the place in his TTP lately, but he's very good. His unit the one thing that I think that ByuN is probably the greatest at this point is his unit movement in like that mid-game area. He always manages to get on the map with units, and he almost always manages to deal some damage, or at least keep his opponent busy. Like, he can have a terrible early game, but he'll still, for whatever reason, keep his opponent on his side of the map. You know, the Colossi pushes don't work against ByuN whatsoever, because he's just base trading. You're moving out, he's in your base already. It reminds me a bit of old school Polt, you know, in Heart of the Swarm.
Yep.
Where whenever you'd move on the map, there would be like 6 medeffects boosting into your main and your third base, and the next side would disappear at exactly the same time, and there would be like a semi-base trade that you could never win. This is a good shape, by the way, out of MaxPax. There's not that many Marines.
Yep, not much in the main base at all, so you can run around and try and get some SCVs. SCVs are going to get a little bit of a surround here, and it means he's going to lose 1 so far, and he is actually just going to kill both Adepts. Well, that was really not bad at all for ByuN. Obviously an SCV pull, but only losing 1 SCV could have been...
Yeah, this mine drop is quick as well, huh? Look at this. He just
that's
he
power
didn't
of
even try. Yeah. What a guy. Now, he's gonna do some damage with this. There's no blink yet. 3 stalkers, 1 is in the wall, 2 are on the ramp. So I think this is going to be a double mineral line pool. I don't think ByuN... Yep, this is exactly how you should do it. I was gonna say, I don't think he should drop both mines at the same spot. Ooh, this actually was pretty sloppy execution here. Loses the medevac, and so far hasn't even gotten a single shot off.
Yeah,
I don't think this was good.
No, now he's not burned. This other wooden mine either. He's gonna lose out on it. So this backfired heavily, huh?
He had 3 units. He should be at least capable of forcing like a double mineral line pool, and then getting 1 probe with each mine, and then getting the medevac out alive for free as well. Like, that is the minimum that you're expecting in this situation, and instead he got 0 kills, I think, with this, or like 1 maybe. No, I don't think he got any
the wood
kills
mines
with
didn't
the
fire.
mine.
Yeah,
they didn't shoot.
Yeah, they didn't even shoot. So
he loses the mine drop, and he only forces a pool on 1 mineral line. That is a pretty powerful counterattack as well out of MaxPax. Let's not forget that the Marine count isn't as high as it usually is, because we opened up with a couple of Reapers here. So yeah, honestly, as good as it could have gotten here for MaxPax in this terrible situation.
Yep, as these Stalkers blink around the back, he is going to try and get some damage done now. We'll just target SCVs with those 1 hits and lifts up the Stalkers and gets them out of there. It doesn't have too many Stalkers, it's only 3 gates of play. And he's going to move into Temple Archives behind it as well on the back of this 3rd base. So just building on damage, and ByuN obviously just don't have to think about that prison being there. Will scare him from moving across the map.
Yeah, I really do like this this storm here as well, honestly. Raven being produced, Stim and Combat Shield starting extremely late. This almost feels like MaxPax is playing against a triple CC opener, except there's no 3rd command center yet, you know? The timing of the Stim and the Combat Shield is so slow. ByuN's going to try to move out here with a couple of Marines at tank, puts an auto turret in the main base at the same time, and that Raven's actually doing a fair amount of damage here. 4 or 5 workers are going to fall, but Storm has already started, and even though a lot of damage is being dealt to MaxPax, I do believe that it is somewhat fine if he can survive to Storm. He can get like 3-4 Templar in a prison.
Yeah, once you have that Storm, it's somewhat difficult to die a lot of the time, right? It's, you know, especially against these early armies that only have like 1 or 2 medevacs, and you know, it's just heavier Marines, because 1 good Storm, and even if it doesn't connect properly, right? Even if it just forces you to split away, that time it buys you can just be everything you need to just deal with this army.
Yeah. No, definitely. There's already 2 Templar. Another thing he could do, by the way, that Cest's been doing a lot lately, is the drops on the mineral line, you know? So if you're being like tank pushed, what you do is you drop 3-4 Templar on the other side, you just storm the mineral line, then you force an all in and you have 2 more Templar at home, and you go, ta-da! it feels very difficult for the Terran to fight against this, because you're kind of forced to attack quickly into your opponent because you don't have any eco. But if you attack quickly into your opponent, there's storms waiting for you. So it's just kind of a, yeah, it's a very difficult dilemma where most of the time there's no real good answer to that. And as MaxPax has a lot of time to attack, but not necessarily a good eco, I wouldn't even mind if he goes for a drop like that. This Raven's doing so much though, holy crap, huh?
Yep, just continuing to come in with these auto turrets and just slaying it. It's got 8 kills so far. These Stalkers are hurt from it as well, right? Like, you know, they are kind of low HP. Maybe in the future they'll go down to auto turrets as well if they're not careful. Obviously they should regen some shields, but yeah, no, it's just annoying as well because you just got to keep thinking about that while ByuN is threatening with this army otherwise, just out in the front. Tanks already sieging up and just kind of working from there.
Yeah, it's MaxPax also is relatively blind here in this game. Makes it difficult for him to properly position his units. Does get 6 Stalkers in the main base, I like that. There's a double drop heading there as well. This army consists of just pure Stalkers and then 4 Templars, so these storms definitely do need to hit. Marauder count is slowly but surely growing as well. ByuN goes for a snipe on the pylon, will depower the gateway and the Cybercore as well as the Twilight. That's of course not the biggest deal, as Charge and Blink are already finished. At the same time though, he moves forward into this third base, and now the storms will come into play, Wardy.
Yep, first storm was good to split ByuN back a little bit and to buy MaxPax some time to maybe get in position. He's actually still holding with Storm here because he's going to blink fully on the left-hand side with all of his Stalkers. So looking to clean those medevacs up, and he just gets the full medevac as well. That would have been a real disaster if he hadn't gotten the full medevac. ByuN just sitting back with the tanks, didn't try and push further forward with this, maybe just afraid of obviously further storms, but those Zealots that were starting to warp in and that he might just get a little bit overwhelmed. So MaxPax's kind of risk of taking all the Stalkers to the left side pays off for him, and it is going to be successful.
Yeah, now there's a decent timing as well here for MaxPax, as these tanks aren't quite sieged up yet. If he straight up jumps on top of this army, just like that, I think ByuN could be in a little bit of trouble here. Tanks are moving on to the high ground. Once these set up, I think it will be hard to push into this. Third base is taking a little bit of damage. Orbital gets cancelled and we see a lift as well as some repairs. Viking needs to be targeted down. Good control out of MaxPax. Not the greatest storm though, but I think there's still 2 or 3 storms in that prism as well, and Ghost are at least 25-30 seconds away from finishing. Yeah,
he should have some extra storms available. ByuN going to try and think about re-landing the third CC. Moved it forward again here. Here you go, going to run into this. The High Templar that drops initially. Oh, wow. The High Templar that dropped initially didn't have the storm, and then the next one that dropped got targeted pretty quick, so only got 1 of 2 storms off. And that means that ByuN doesn't take as much splash as he should have done, and now these tanks have just been wailing away on the army this entire time, just helping to push this back, and obviously without any further storms. Just Stalker Zealot, not going to cut it.
Yeah, definitely not. And now we're also kind of walking into the issue where the Ghosts are going to be out, so that's the counter to both the Archon and the Templar, and on top of that, there's just no upgrades whatsoever for MaxPax. Majority of the time behind this type of play, you kind of see that transition into the double Robo Bay, Colossi, preferably Disruptor if it's necessary, but ideally Colossi. That's not the case at all. There's not even a Robo Bay on the way. We do have a single robotics facility, but there's no Immortals being produced. Now we finally have the Robo Bay, but this is of course way too late for the upcoming push that ByuN most definitely is going to start setting up for.
Yeah, I mean, ByuN should be going kind of soon, right? I mean, he's in a situation where he doesn't have an armor or anything, so he's not going for further upgrades right now. He will start a 4th, but I mean, the tech is here. He's got Ghost. He could just start and hand Shockwaves just now, but I feel like he could at least push across the map and have a look to see if he can do anything. Just 1 medevac loads up and leaves instead. For the moment, his army is staying put out on his 3rd base, and his medevac is just going to stay out of view of Zealots, which is setting up for the counter-attack as well from MaxPax. So he's looking to make his play around the left side, taking a 4th base over on the right. Now ByuN starts to push with at least the ByuForce in the center.
Yeah, I like that. A couple of Vikings here as well, so he's already anticipating the Colossi switch. Of course, these Vikings will still kind of come in handy if they want to target down a prism. I like this little counterattack out of MaxPax. For some reason, ByuN decided he needed everything to defend that. At the same time, we have a 6 Marine plus 1 Marauder drop heading towards the main as well. Maybe as a bit of a distraction. Feels like ByuN is kind of missing his timing though, perhaps overestimating the position MaxPax is in. Not quite realizing that Colossi were going to be this late. He wanted to wait for the enhanced Shockwave. But now the first Colossi are almost out. I'm not quite sure how large the timing window still is, Wardy.
It definitely feels like it's closing, you know. It's only got, he's only got 4 Vikings, especially to double Colossus production. It's not like there's just going to be 1 where it's like, oh, whatever. 2 really do start to kind of give you that chance to really hold on as MaxPax. So I do not like it as much for ByuN. Maybe like right now, if he goes when there's only one, there's no extended thermal lance, that's obviously going to improve your chances. But the sooner the better, and it does feel like he's not going to push it before, while there's still a timing in play.
Yeah. I'm also a little bit worried here, by the way, for the upgrades of MaxPax. Sure, he now started upgrading on 1 Forge, but there's still going to be a time in which there will be 2 upgrades, ship weapons level 1 on the Vikings, where MaxPax will just be down 2 entire upgrades. That's kind of painful. His army does consist of mainly range units, so not too many zealots, on which the armor obviously matters more. Big impies though on this entire army. Vikings not shooting quite yet, instead are aiming for that prism, and the Marauders take care of everything else on the ground. Holy cow.
Wow, yeah, he zoned the prism out so that it was just falling so far back, so the storms weren't really in play. It allowed the rest of the ByuN army to kind of get forward and just jump on the Colossi, gets rid of one of them there, and one remains. Zealot on the left side attack is just not going to do much as we do get rid of this Nexus, and another EMP just putting that prism low once again, but there's nothing to really follow up on it. There's no chance these Marines get in range unless MaxPax really does mess up. And so for now, MaxPax gets to survive, but ByuN's almost maxed out again, so no doubt he's going to be attacking again soon. And can MaxPax even recover and get to what he needs to have to hold on to this? Because he has a good amount of splash, he just feels like there's not enough buffer here. There's not enough zealots or just gateway units in general. And that has me a little bit worried. And his economy is just not good either, so you just can't afford a lot of this.
Yeah, and the problem with the zealots, of course, also being no armor upgrades. They're going to lose their shields immediately to an EMP, so you really just are working with some low HP zealots that don't have any armor upgrades.
Yeah.
And for now that might be fine, but once 2-2 finishes, that's going to be the end of those bad boys. Prism is warping in, is in a bit of a dangerous position. Storm hits a decent amount of ghosts there. Some Marines also getting damaged. I don't think MaxPax actually can attack into this though. I don't think either player thinks that MaxPax can attack into this, as ByuN should probably just even chase this army at this point.
Yep, this is just not that scary anymore. And we see the Stalker's actually going to turn around to hit the factory, which means that ByuN says, well, you just used your blink. You're kind of more committed to this fight than you want to be. So he's going to move forward. The first EMP is just good. I mean, you just see these units disappear, and the Zealots didn't stand a chance. Storms will come down, and ByuN can take a second or two to step back if he wants. Right now, he's just going to continue to chase. As for Colossi, can they do the damage needed as you push through this choke point? It's kind of scary for ByuN, but he just kills the Colossi so quickly because there's nothing else there. And MaxPax's army will melt away, as ByuN is going to look for a 2-0 lead here. It's just obviously way too much now.
Yeah, it's kind of funky as well, right? In which this was absolutely the worst fight that ByuN could have taken. He danced in storms for almost 10 full seconds. He walked into a choke. It was 5 seconds before his 2-2 finished. Like, this was the absolute worst fight, and it still wasn't close. That's how bad of a position MaxPax really was in. Because if the army supply is closer, if the army comp is slightly better, MaxPax absolutely rolls ByuN there. That isn't quite the case. ByuN takes game number 2 as well, and we have a 2-0 here in this best of 5 Wardy.
Like no other, according to you. So
according to me, yeah.
I mean, I would take your word as fact. So
facts. You should.
I do.
You copy all my taglines as well. So might as well
all your taglines?
All my taglines.
Which taglines do I copy? Clearly not. Clearly not. This is a TvT opener.
Well, but all the others, you know, that's it's clear as day 20 watching. It's fine. Look, we don't need to discuss this right now. We can do this afterwards. But let's just focus on this best of 5, Wardy.
I would like if you did.
Yeah. All right. In the bottom left, spawning as the red Protoss player playing for Storm Gaming. It's our good friend MaxPax.
Ooh. Top right, our Blue Terran player from the Shopify Rebellion is ByuN. 2-0 lead and 1 map away from continuing a winner bracket run in the OSC Championship 9.
Woo!
You know when you say something you think it sounds really cool, it's actually just lame. I appreciate how lame I sounded in that.
That's fine. I just wanted you to know as well, you know?
I already knew.
I don't think it was quite enough for the entire audience to know, but you had to be made aware. All right, we have a single gas opener out of ByuN this time around, and he'll go for a scout as well. Yeah, he'll just play Marine. It could be Marine Factory. It's a slightly larger map. I know he likes playing that on Glittering Ashes and also on, what's it called? Pride of Altaris. He'll play a lot of Marine Factory. as this is kind of a middle map, he could go for Reactor first, but of course it isn't. It will just actually be Marine Factory, Wardy. That means we're going to see about a 15-16 second faster initial medevac drop, or a faster initial couple of factory units, whatever his plans are. I do believe he likes to open up with a Hellion in this case, and then go into like a 2 mine drop. Second gas, of course, being taken pretty fast as well before that second depot. Otherwise, you can't start the medevac.
Yep. Get that second gas rolling, afford everything you need to get here to get the aggression across the map to try and get some damage done early game. As we'll wait and see what the tech is going to be from MaxPax, who, you know, down 2 games, what sort of build do you like to use here? Do you like to just go Twilight still?
Oh, it's very difficult because you're playing against a really aggressive opener from ByuN, which means your blink just won't be done before the first medevac hits. It also really, it is quite rare to see people SCV scout with this type of opener and then not proxy a starport and go for like a 4 Hellion drop. If this was Clem playing against MaxPax, Clem would already have like the starport proxied on the other side right now, you know, the first 2 cars on the way. So I'm kind of surprised, honestly, that MaxPax decided to go for that Twilight. He even gets a Robo before the Twilight, delaying the blink even further. This feels very much either like a DT drop or like a 4-gate blink. But if he plays DT drop, like, good luck fighting this mine drop that just hits so fast. Oh, it's a triple oh, he's gonna play 7 Marine into triple heli and run by. But this is really rough with Dark Shrine openers.
Yeah.
That's
going to be a little bit rough indeed. So it's going to be a lot of pressure out of ByuN. MaxPax will take a while before he gets his DTs on the map. He's obviously going to have that investment that's not going to pay off at all on the defense for a while. See what he can do. The good news is he's getting a wall set up at the front, so he's got 2 gateways and an in-depth there, so the Hellion run-by part of this might not be as successful as it would like to be, as he's actually just going to take 2 Hellions onto the medevac and leave the Marines at home. And a little bit of a different way of doing this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really, really lucky as well for MaxPax, because with this build you just can't afford a lot of gateway units. Like, look right now, we have 1 adept at the front, 1 adept, and a stalker at home. That's it. If he warps in any more gateway units, he can't afford Dark Templars. So even this triple Hellion drop, or it's a double Hellion drop, this is the weakest thing I've seen in a very long time, and it's still most likely going to do a bit of damage because the defense of this build is so poor. Look at this. You just don't have any units.
Yep, 4 kills already going to come through for at least a couple more. 6. Yeah, I mean, if you get 6 kills off of, like, okay, he just doesn't get 8. If you get 6 kills off the, 3 Hellion drop, it's like, okay, that's decent, right? But to get it off 2 Hellions? Yeah, well, here comes the DTs at least.
It's almost just a scout, you know, a 2 Hellion drop. It's not really supposed to do much. Now, DTs will come in, and the one in the natural might actually deal some damage as well. It will die as there's a scan available there. ByuN needs to respond, though. Does pull the workers, but maybe the DT can escape in the natural. We're on the main base. Actually, this wasn't all that bad here for MaxPax. DT will die eventually, but if he can just get another triple DT warping in, and he should be capable of doing that, the Archon drop could have some potentially bad outcomes here for ByuN. His Viking isn't quite out yet. Tank will move towards the low ground. A couple of Marines might just die. 3rd base is on the way. Do we see Blink or Charge? No, we don't have any follow-up upgrades yet. Surprising to see. MaxPax goes for the main base. I think that's the correct call here as well.
Yeah, just going to be getting that set up as he goes for these Marines. Viking will start to zone out the Prism, though, so you got to be careful with the fight you take. As you see the Order Turret drop down as well to try and help this. The Prism will die, and that means these Archons, well, obviously stranded, but at least they're stranded out on the map rather than in the base. That's why I was saying you have to be careful with the fight that you take, because you stick around too long there with the Viking shooting at you, etc., and obviously you lose the Archons as well, and that's really going to be, a hole to try and climb out of in this game. So nice at least from MaxPax, but obviously great for ByuN, because now he's removed any pressure on the map for a little while. You're going to have a new Prism that has to build. That costs you a little bit of money. And yeah, ByuN for the moment is just very safe with nothing coming his way.
Yeah, the follow-up will be, I think this is a 6-gate blink into Colossi as well. I'm actually extremely surprised we see that fast of a Robo Bay. So there is a Raven out, so Interference Matrix is a possibility. We have 8 Marines. This is such a typical ByuN move, by the way. 8 Marines without stim, without combat. I often see this drop lose him games, but this time around it might actually do a little bit of damage, and this is just going to add insult to injury here. Recall is forced, and it's just on 2 stalkers.
Yeah.
It's like a fake recall almost, you know?
Yeah.
I sometimes recall one of the probes to make my opponent believe that I have units, and they pick up. I'm very happy. It's kind of similar here. Blink's about to finish up, and I guess MaxPax holds this at home, but there's just so much supply right now for ByuN, and he has a good army as well, right? This is not a crap army. There's a Raven, there's 2 tanks. There's not going to be charge here, so going on top of these tanks will be tricky. ByuN is following this up with a Thirsty Sea and 5 racks. Yeah, this is great. Absolutely fantastic for ByuN.
You know, Stalker's just going to finally clean up this medevac, but you get 5 probes, and now you're going to come across the map with this Bioforce. You're going to see a Stalker in the center there already being cleaned out. We continue down to the south, where ByuN is obviously going to look to get those tanks behind that set of rocks and try and work his way onto that 3rd base. 1 Colossus up right now, of course. Don't forget, we have got the Raven that has energy to Matrix a Colossus, so that can be taken out of the fight pretty much straight away. And it does really look like the odds are stacked against MaxPax right now.
Yeah, just flying across the map with this Prism. I wouldn't have minded if he left the Prism at home to try and dodge the interference matrix on the Colossi, you know. I know there's probably a little bit of ping involved in this, so it's not going to be the easiest, but I do believe that's the greatest chance that he has of doing anything. There's no charge yet. Like, what's the Prism going to do on the other side? There's warping 2 Stalkers and two volley SCVs. That doesn't sound like a very effective way of dealing damage to your opponent.
No, it really doesn't, does it? There's a little bit of Bio going to stim forward there to just force the Stalkers to blink back already. ByuN, very conservative, just holding on to the Watchtower. Now going to rotate elsewhere. He's going to come more towards the center and more for a push toward the natural ramp. And, yeah, he's not convinced about pushing in at all. Maybe this does give MaxPax a chance, as we do see a kill on a unit broken into the natural. Was that DT or Zealot? Yeah. I'm not sure.
Was a DT. So 2 DTs lost, kills 2 SCVs. Now, if you lose 250 resources and you only call 50, that tends to be a bad deal. If you repeat that deal 1 more time, you lose 500 resources and you kill 100 resources. That's still a terrible deal. So,
Is there any point at which that becomes a good deal?
No, I think the more you skill that, actually the worse it gets. The ratio remains the same of how bad it is, but in absolute numbers, yeah, it definitely gets worse and worse.
Thank you for the mathematician.
Yeah, good point there, Wardy. Yeah. I like that you always make sure that your viewers also understand it. No,
I was gonna say, I just that we always make me look good here. Zealots in the main base, ByuN coming back up as we will come through and clean out a whole bunch of these Zealots. There's 1 DT as well. You'll need a scan for. And the Prism will just lift it up to save it, which is nice, of course. 7 SCVs go down, and now MaxPax is actually going to catch ByuN's army. Not ready to play over here. The double Matrix goes down to help out against these Colossi, and ByuN's going to turn this around. He's going to fight this army back. Wow, I mean, that was obviously one of the worst fights you could take at the start from ByuN, but that's just how strong his army is and how much MaxPax shouldn't have been out here.
Yeah, it really just shows that MaxPax should have stayed at home, honestly. DTs are doing a little bit of damage on the other side, but it's just such a similar game as that last one, right? Where MaxPax is just kind of dead, and actually this entire series is just MaxPax dying early on and trying to get back into it, and ByuN getting caught off guard and perhaps even taking initially bad fights. It just doesn't matter. He has too much stuff, and more stuff tends to be less stuff, and especially if the stuff also has a Raven that has 2 interference matrices in it. Like, it's a big deal. 4cc should be on the way. It's a crap ton of gas, by the way.
Yeah. Loads of gas just kind of floating up in that bank, which at some point you can spend right now. He's just going to move with this ramp. He still has the Raven in play as well. Okay, well, that was a Casticus. It goes down instantly as we stim forward, and Zealot Storg will be pushed back. We have the Colossus firing away and dealing a little bit of damage. We do have this Bioforce trying to work back into the forwards and just find an opening, find a way to get something done, but isn't really able to do much for the moment. So for now, MaxPax holds on, and maybe we'll see another of those games where MaxPax is able to draw this out a little longer than expected.
Yeah, I'm surprised that ByuN didn't get in there. I guess ByuN saw the clip of Upper 3 Zelda losing an entire army to a single Colossi, so he was like, you know what? If MaxPax is capable of that, then I might want to be a little bit more careful against this fella. He just moves back. He's going to deny the 4th base in a bit from now. Scans for it. He's very, very careful. You see this? He really respects his army control, and that's it's cool to see. Now he's just going to try to push up this ramp. I do believe that at any point when ByuN wants to, he can end this game. He just needs to kind of walk up here and get 1 decent EMP, and he should be fine.
Yep, here we go. Fight actually will begin to break out a little bit as the Disruptor Shot came through. We continue forward in these Colossi will start off taking quite a bit of damage. So the battery goes down. We try and run into the natural. Colossi are going to get pulled back, and they will get to stay alive here. So Colossi getting to live. I mean, one of them remains, and these Marauders will die for it. And not a lot of Marauders left, but enough to get the kill on that. And that will be a good part of this. Now being cleaned up, we kill a pylon over here. At the same time, there are Zealots counterattacking in the mineral line on the other side of the map. But, I mean, surely ByuN is just going to be doing so much on this side that he's able to deal with this. Oh, PvT show up. He actually is going to be pushed back. And then I guess he is the one to have lost more SCVs. So, on we go.
Honestly, this was probably the best that could have happened for, like, in the greatest scenario. This would happen for MaxPax, right? He gets a lot of damage with a counterattack. He defends with a bunch of DTs, and he's building Disruptors right now. Now, Disruptors can perform some magic, but I'm not quite sure if he can hold this. There's a lot of goes with EMPs. This army consists of Archons, and, well, 2 Disruptors. He needs to hit 1 big Disruptor shot. That's it.
Yes, he's going to get the 2 ghosts. Obviously, the EMPs went off, but the EMPs went off into the super battery, and those Archons didn't die when the EMPs went down, so they got, they stayed alive. And so ByuN isn't quite able to break through there either. And that is going to be ByuN back to the middle of the map. And still not quite able to end this game. 40 supply up, rebuilding a 4th base that got cancelled previously. MaxPax going to try and get his 4th down in position. Still trailing here for sure, but with those Disruptors, has a lifeline he can hold on to. And maybe, like you say, if you get 1 good Disruptor shot, swing the momentum in your favor, you take 1 fight from there, maybe that's your way back into this game. Just it feels tough when ByuN can obviously be careful of those Disruptors and when he's hitting those EMPs on the Archons every time.
Yeah. So it seems like ByuN is saving up a little bit for the carrier switch, as he's floating a decent amount of money. His 4th CC got delayed by a bit, and I don't think he has his barracks 6 to 8 yet either. No, haven't started yet, which is kind of the common ByuN follow-up here. I'm surprised we're not seeing those go down yet, as he's having some trouble spending his money. MaxPax, I think, would actually make a wise decision just camping on 3 bases for a little bit. Just actually setting up that 3rd base with like 2-3 extra cannons, getting a bunch of DTs out on the map with Blink, I don't mind. And the play here is that once you take your 4th base, you can take a good defensive fight with Disruptors and at the same time kill a planetary with DTs. And then from there on out, I think that's what we're kind of looking at as a point where maybe MaxPax can start building a little bit of momentum. But he needs time, and he needs a lot of time. So taking a 4th base right now, I think is pretty much out of the question, because there's no way you're having a good fight at your 4th base at this point. You need to first kind of fortify that 3rd. A couple of extra cannons, and he's doing that, adding another cannon. And then go for that counter-attack. I think that's really the play. This is not the play, though. You can't fight here.
Yeah, 1 Disruptor goes forward and kind of forces the Terran army to split back a little bit. Next Disruptor shot, going to force ByuN to split a little bit again, but not really getting those mega connections, as ByuN will take a moment to step back himself. Will not engage further into that base. He's not going to fight where MaxPax wants him to fight.
This is not a good DT blink in here for MaxPax. He should not have done that. That was a really big mistake. He gets the recall on 3 of them, which is nice. 2 end up dying. Yeah, this would have been fine in a regular game, right? Where you're on 75 workers, you have a 5th base and 8 gas. But if you're on 56 workers and you're afraid of holding your fort, you haven't even taken assimilators there yet. Like, it's just practically impossible to pull that type of move. Oh, this is a risky move in here for ByuN. Needs to be careful that the Disruptors don't get the big connections. At the same time, the left side army is getting taken out. And once again, just like on Berlingrad, we see just a very small portion of that Splash army trying to defend the base. This time it won't go as well as the Templars managed to do on Berlingrad. None of these Disruptors really connecting either with this army. So we see 2 Disruptors fall so far. Robotics facility is going to get taken out as well. I think that DTs tried to walk into the 3rd base. Managed to snatch 3 workers or so. But yeah, this ByuN army is just so powerful in a straight-up engagement against gateway units, and even with Colossi, that Disruptors are the only answer here. And we see 2 robotics facilities being thrown down right now.
Yeah, because he doesn't have one anymore.
Yeah.
He lost both.
It's going to bring the total up to 2. So that's...
Reset the robo count in the game. Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, I mean, just rough, right? You've lost a couple of Disruptors, and now you're in a position of having lost your robos. You lose another Disruptor here, right? And it just keeps you in that position where... well, you're just having lifeline after lifeline struck down. ByuN's taking them away. And he's eventually going to be able to get in a better spot. The RDT still counter-attacking, but ByuN's also going to have a drop over on the left side. This time MaxPax isn't really set up to deal with that at all. He warps in a few Stalkers against it, but Marauders will be able to trade out okay against that. Even with the battery, they'll just slowly hit the Nexus. In fact, they'll just jump into the main base. Where there is a battery, there is a cannon. I mean, there's also the fight on the right-hand side taking place as well, so a lot of this is just distractions, and right now it's going to work out for ByuN, who dives forward and gets both the disruptors that remain. That means no disruptors on the map, and he's actually just going to dive this army. Everything should melt here, even with a super battery. It's just too much damage from the Terran. Yes, there's DTs in his main base, but he's also got, his own army on the left-hand side as well. He's cleaned out the main force of MaxPax, and this time he really should have this 110 to 20 army supply.
Yeah, this game really should be over right now. As MaxPax is losing absolutely everything. The final Colossi dies. His third has been blasted. These DTs are being microed, but the final snipe will take care of that as well. GG gets called. ByuN wins the series 3-0.
Yeah, convincing from ByuN. Just
wow.
His TVP looked like the better matchup between these two today.
Yeah, it really did, Wardy.
Really, I guess that's